Hello, I'm Wendy Sue Johnson, and I am back again with Dan Vandewater, the Executive Director of Business from the Eau Claire Area School District. And he, last time, had filled us in about the funding formula in Wisconsin and how that affects school districts. And today we're going to look at just one piece of the state budget that is gotten a lot of press, I guess, in the past couple of years, and that is the voucher system that's fairly new to the rest of the state of Wisconsin, but started back in Milwaukee. Dan, could you give us a little background on that?
Right. Up until 2 years ago, vouchers were limited to the southeastern part of the state, Racine, and the Milwaukee area. In the last biennial budget, that program was expanded statewide, but it was expanded statewide with some limitations on it. For the first year of the implementation statewide, there was a limit of 500 students that could apply for the voucher program. That was expanded to 1,000 students last year, the last year of the last biennial budget.
So what is a voucher?
A voucher is essentially dollars that if an individual meets certain income requirements, you can take that voucher to a private school and use that to offset the cost of tuition.
And do you know what the approximate amount of that income limit is?
The income limit, I believe, is for a family of four, somewhere in the neighborhood of $44,000.
So families who earn less than $44,000 would be able to take advantage of that, those tax dollars from the state to pay for their child's tuition at a private school.
Right, that's how it works. The current budget proposal takes off the limits of the number of students who can apply for vouchers. There are limits on the number of students that a school district can lose in any given year. So there is some control over that. But the effect, there are some other major changes relative to the program other than just expanding the number. In the last biennial budget, there was a separate pool of money at the state to fund the vouchers. The proposed change now is to have the dollars for vouchers come out of the general state aid pool of money. So that is of concern because the potential for the voucher program to grow is there. And if you have two competing educational programs growing at the same time, the dilemma is, how do you fund them both? That is I think a very real problem that should cause concern.
So when you said the current budget takes the voucher dollars for private schools from the general state aid, you're talking about the fund that would normally pay for the 400 and some public schools that we have.
Yes. Yeah, and general state aid is what we talked about in the other segment that we did. That's the amount that offsets property tax. So decreases in general state aid cause increases in property taxes, and so.
So as the voucher system grows and takes from state aid, you're saying that local property taxes will actually increase if more people take advantage of that voucher system?
That's how it will work.
What's the, I guess, motivation or purpose behind offering this voucher system to the public?
Well, I think the intent is to give parents opportunities to seek alternative ways of providing education for their children. And one of those has been for a while vouchers. There are also charter schools that are becoming more popular.
Now, as you said, the voucher system is fairly new to the state of Wisconsin outside of Milwaukee and Racine. What have you seen as far as the number of students in the Eau Claire area taking advantage of the vouchers?
We have not seen any movement out of the school district to private schools because of the voucher program that has existed in the last 2 years. So while dollars were available to students already attending private schools here in Eau Claire, To our knowledge, based on the data that we have, we did not lose any students because of the voucher program. So the impact of the statewide expansion in vouchers may not be as great in Eau Claire as it could be in other school districts in other areas of the state.
So
but the school district could be indirectly affected by the dollars coming out of the general aid formula.
Sure. Now you said there you haven't seen students leaving the Eau Claire Area School District in the last 2 years to take advantage of vouchers, but aren't there students and families in this area getting that money for vouchers in the private schools?
Yes, but they were already attending the private schools when the law went into place, and the dollars flowed to them at the private schools they were attending.
So there has been a loss of money through the vouchers, but it was for students who had already been students in those various private schools.
That's correct.
So you had mentioned one motivation was to encourage or allow parents to choose, and it seems like there aren't new choices being made. Are there other reasons, I guess, that would encourage benefits to the educating our children, that this voucher program should be kept or expanded?
You know, those questions, I really can't speak well to them. The reasons that people make choices for their children are so varied. I don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to comment on that, really.
So there aren't financial benefits necessarily, or any other benefits that you can see from a system-wide, but it's more of a personal decision?
Yes, I would describe it more as a personal decision on how you want your children educated.
Okay. You had mentioned that it doesn't seem feasible to fund two systems, I guess, a private school or voucher system and a public school system based on the current amount of state aid. Can you expand on that?
Since the funding has changed and the voucher program moving forward will be funded out of the general aid dollars available, general aid dollars are what is referred to as some certain, not some sufficient. So there is a fixed allocation on a biennial budget basis of general aid, and whatever gets taken out of that for voucher payments diminishes the amount that's available to public schools.
So it would seem in the future at some point either the public schools will decrease as the voucher schools or private schools increase, or the state will have to begin committing to putting more money into that fund?
I think that's the logical outcome. It's important to realize that what we're talking about here, reductions in state aid, or the opposite, increases in state aid, do not affect the amount of dollars the district has to spend. Remember, the revenue limit formula controls property tax and state aid. So increases in state aid result in decreases in property tax and vice versa. So we always need to keep that in mind when we're looking at topics like reductions in state aid due to vouchers or for any other reason.
Thank you so much again for your time today, Dan. It's been excellent talking with you.
Thank you.